Welcome back to Edgework here on the Hammer Betting Network, a daily live NHL show Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure to give us a subscribe here on the Edgework YouTube channel. If you want to comment in real time, you have to go over to the YouTube. Unfortunately, we won't see it on Twitter, but you will get notified here on the YouTube channel every time we go live when more videos come out, like the one of Andy and I breaking down some of the futures markets, maybe the Jets to win the Central, Sabres to make the playoffs, Dolly Norris. There's different kind of videos like that coming out, as well as our new podcast with David Pagnotta, Dennis Bernstein, and Zach Bodenstein every Wednesday. So later today, there will be a new episode of that coming out, breaking down everything going on around the NHL. It's going to be one you're going to want to tune into, especially as we approach the trade deadline here, discussing guys who could be on the move, where they could be on the move to, and maybe allow you to get in some bets on some futures ahead of the market or ahead of some of the moves that may come out. But only 2 games here tonight, guys, so we'll dig into those and give our best bets, see what we've got here. But we'll start with the Vancouver Canucks heading to New York to take on the Rangers. This Vancouver team, 3-6-1 in their last 10, obviously going to be sellers here continuing down the deadline. I'm seeing graphics out there of potential trades for Quinn Hughes and how the Devils could acquire him, what might happen there. So it is going to be madness as we approach the trade deadline in terms of at least theoretical trades. Unlikely how many of these will actually happen. It's something that the NHL gets restricted by every single year, is just what could happen versus what does. But this Vancouver team on the road here tonight against the Rangers, they're 10-13-3 on the road this season, whereas this Rangers team has been pretty good. Yeah, Andy?
I don't know about you, Alex, but I think Zach's probably still on HF boards or whatever that shit is. You know, what kind of trade proposals where are you seeing this Quinn Hughes to the New Jersey Devils talk? Where are you seeing this?
It was on a Canadian. No, it was on a Canadian TV broadcast that you would be familiar with, Andy.
RDS?
No, it was on Sportsnet.
Oh, Sportsnet. Yeah.
They were proposing.
Who was saying this? Who was proposing this?
I believe it was the OHL reporter, Sam.
Oh, Constantino.
Yeah. Pretty sure it was him.
I think that's his. I met him. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he was proposing
Stick to the draft, Sam.
Nemec. He was proposing Nemec, a second-round pick, and someone else for Quinn Hughes. That was the Devils' proposal to reunite all 3 Hughes brothers in New Jersey.
I will say this: the guy knows his prospects.
Yes,
we had some pretty deep conversations going back the last.
Hey, I'll give him that, but it was just a reminder of all the craziness that gets thrown out there ahead of the deadline. Who could be available for what? But in terms of tonight's
thing about the NHL is that there's no precedent for it, right? There's no. We have no reason to go into trade deadline season expecting these wacky, crazy trades, right? It's not it's we can it's fun to dream up these things in other leagues, especially the NBA, I guess, but the NHL, I mean, it's just not even on the same level in terms of player movement and fantasy kind of team building and stuff like that. It's sad. I mean, it would be sweet if there was more of that and we could link up these guys that you want to see play together, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true. The league doesn't have a whole lot of mammoth trades. When's the last time you saw even a 3-team or even a 4-team trade happen in the NHL? It's been years. So yeah, it has certainly changed the landscape of moves during the deadline. It's not like baseball or basketball, for sure.
Yeah, I know it's a sick hat. I'm trying to just point out the fact that both the Wild and the Stars have terrible logos and aesthetic, not really that pleasing. I guess they have some all right threads, but nothing like the North Stars, baby. I just got out of the shower, and I forgot to brush my teeth, so.
This guy's with the Red Bull, the North Stars hat, and his bathrobe. Well, Andy, we'll start with you. Do you have anything for us here in this Rangers Canucks game tonight? This Rangers team is hosting the Canucks. They are pretty good at home, or decent at home, about 500, 14-9-4, but they are coming off a 2-game win streak here, having beaten Vegas before the break and Calgary now 5-4 immediately after the break in that game with the couple monster Jacob Trouba hits.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I mean, I don't know if it was like best regular season game ever, like people were saying, like recency bias, I guess. But it was a really fun game between the Rangers and the Flames. I obviously think this is somewhat of a layup for the Rangers today. I have them priced in the minus 240 range, I believe. Halak played the last game, so we're gonna almost certainly see Shesterkin today. Guess there's a little bit of value out there in some spots on the Rangers. Not something I've played yet, but yeah, I mean it's the Canucks. It's hard to say what they're going to be in these next few weeks, and obviously we've got Thatcher Demko coming back probably soonish, but not likely this week or over these next 2 games. They play again on Thursday, so. Yeah, I mean, you're going to see a weak goaltender against a strong goaltender, and a Rangers team that's kind of been, clicking and finding themselves a bit here. So I think New York is a pretty much a layup to kind of win tonight, but it's funny that the Canucks are actually like the best offensive team in action tonight. So there's there's something there, right? Like, I mean, you look at guys like Kuzmenko, who I have been kind of has been on my radar now that he's on the top line with Pettersson as a goal scorer. He scored the first goal in the last game, but obviously you're playing against a goaltender like Shesterkin, so I'm not really super interested here. The one player prop that kind of stands out is Philip Hedl over 2.5 shots around even money, or minus 105, I think. But once again, not something I've played.
Alex, is there anything for you in this game that you would look at, or anything that might pique your interest at all?
No, not much. I mean, this is obviously a super high price to back the Rangers with, and it makes total sense to how Vancouver's been playing. But you look at previous series history, Vancouver has won 5 straight against the Rangers, and sometimes you see these weird spots. Obviously, we talk about cross-conference teams and different locations, different lineups, and sometimes you just have where these trends just pop up because some team, for whatever reason, either they it's a weird travel setup, or they always kind of play that team in the middle of a certain time or frame or something, where you just have these trends go on regardless of who the players, the personnel are. So I get worried when I see some of those trends that kind of go long term. I could see the Rangers winning this game 4-1, but I could also see Vancouver taking it overtime and getting the win. So even with a short card, I don't want to force anything. I just pass on this.
All right, Andy, I'm gonna ask you about this before we get to the next game. Last night I had Colorado moneyline. I saw you tweeting out about the Avalanche. Sent a message this morning, not overly impressed. Can you just take us through your thought process, your emotions as you were watching that game unfold last night?
They dominated 3/4 of that game and couldn't beat Casey DeSmith, right? Like it's if you play that game that way 100 times over, the Avalanche will win it away, right? Like it's just like They should have had a multi-goal lead, not a 2-goal lead. Probably had a 3 or 4-goal lead at one point in that game, but just couldn't get it done. DeSmith played great, and the Penguins get that deflection with what, 4 minutes to go, I think, or 5 minutes to go in the third period, and win it on this crazy play in overtime. So I'd like to see some data. Something I've always kind of wanted to look into is win-loss record when we're talking about teams that have a high shot count, a high shot differential, but only have a 1-goal lead throughout a game, right? Like we see this all the time where teams hold on, especially like you think of games like this, you think of the Carolina Hurricanes winning 1-0 for 2.5 periods and out shooting a team by 15 or 20. And that team forces overtime and wins the game, right? So I mean, it just really feels like that. It's one of those things. There's definitely some cognitive biases here, right? But I mean, I think I think that happens a lot, and I feel like I'm on the losing end of it when it does. So, it's just one of those frustrating things as a hockey bettor, that teams where you watch your team kind of punch themselves out almost, right? Like they go all out trying to score goals, they don't score them, and eventually it just goes the other way, and things shift. So
yeah, and two things to that. One, you mentioned about how you have these teams that outshoot club by 2-1 or sometimes even higher margin, and it kind of ties back to what I was just saying about seeing trends and patterns with certain teams and certain matchups. Carolina playing the New York Rangers, for years and years, the Rangers dominated them. And if you look at I remember looking at some of the shot counts. Most of the time, it was Carolina outshooting them by 2-1 margin, and then somehow still
I
losing
lost so
4-2.
much money on those games.
Yeah, and it's just weird. So it kind of ties back into what I'm saying, where you just have some teams that for whatever reason they get chances, but they aren't of a certain quality or a caliber to where they can actually turn that into goals and win games. So that's why looking at some of those kind of Corsi and Fenwick numbers, you can't just take those as true gospel all the time. As far as it had to be a part of your handicapping, not a just massive end all be all. Well, this team can outshoot this other team, I'm going to bet on them. You can't really roll with that. And the second thing I was going to say is it's really important to have, one, the ability to live bet, and two, keeping up with Twitter during game nights, because I didn't watch a single second of the Avs and Pens, but I saw everybody talking about the shot count early, and I went and bet Avalanche to score first goal, which didn't happen until I think middle of the second period, but early in the second period. But in seeing that, I was able to kind of just hone in on that, just go straight to my app, bet that live, and cash that ticket. So end up actually getting a win out of that game, where I know a lot of people were on Colorado. So using Twitter when you're betting, sometimes can really be helpful in moments like that.
Yeah, I mean, I was just watching because I was following along with. I had yesterday we had the Edgework bets on that with the Colorado money line and McKinnon over shots on goal. So obviously the McKinnon over shots on goal ends up winning. And if you've been following along with the Edgework group this year, especially on our Bet Stamp app, you see we're up 49 units so far. So almost 9% ROI on the season. So it's been a pretty good year for us, but we did have that Colorado one miss. Had that one myself and was just following along, and like Alex said, seeing everybody talk about it on Twitter, I'd watched the first little bit and then basically tuned out after that, and then just followed along from there. And it was an interesting ride to see how everyone was responding to that one, and that lead lost by the Avalanche based on how they've been playing. Second game of the night here tonight. Yeah, but just in terms of where they were at and what it kind of probably should have been for them to close out that game. And Aaron Lappin here saying, I had the Avs yesterday, only L on a 6-teamer for $1,200. Definitely stings when they should have won that game.
That's tough, yeah.
Yeah, that is tough. All right, second game of the night here. Andy repping both teams as best as he could in this one. Minnesota Wild heading to Dallas to take on the Stars. Minnesota right now is holding on to the third spot in the Central. They are tied with Colorado for points. They have the same games played as them. They're 5-4-1 in their last 10. They just lost to the Coyotes on Monday 3-2. And this team, not the greatest on the road, 12-10-3, going up against the Dallas team who's holding on to first in the Central right now. 3 points up on Winnipeg with the same games played. They're 4-2-4 in their last 10, and they are 14-5-6. Alex, I'll start with you. Is there anything you're seeing in this side with decent value, or anything that you would play in this Stars Wild game?
Yeah, I laid the $1.40 with Dallas on the money line. I think this is a spot where they really need to kind of step up and bring their A game in a full 60-minute effort. You look at the last 4 games, lost 3 of them, and the win that they got against a horrible Anaheim team, need to go into overtime to get that one. This is a team that's not in the best form. They kind of remind me slightly in the same situationally, not team-wise. I think they're a great team, but they situationally remind me of where Florida was the other night. Florida needed that big win against Tampa Bay, and they poured it on, got the 7-1 victory. I think Dallas is kind of in that same spot. Hey, we're at the top of the division. We're playing a division rival, a team that we've played very well against over the years. We need to, come out and have a strong home effort, get things gearing, in the back, gearing in the right motion, starting off the second half of the season. And like I said, this is I think a big spot here. So laying $1.40, I think it's a decent price. I think Dallas takes care of business tonight.
All right. Andy, anything for you in this one?
Yeah, good luck. I think the Stars are just super mid right now. They're just I don't know, man. They're just so close to being a mediocre team. I know their underlying metrics are pretty good and whatnot, and things are going, well for them, I guess. But they're just not winning games the way you'd like to see them win games. They're gonna obviously have to rely on Ottinger, but I just don't know. Like, I keep hearing them as a Stanley Cup bet and everything, and I guess with Jake Ottinger, yeah, like, sure, but I don't see them as that team. But yeah, one thing that obviously stands out is Jason Robertson. I mean, it's kind of silly at this point that he's not like Pasternak, at least in some of these games, specifically at home, and priced up at, in the 4.5 range for his shot prop, because he's gone over or he's registered at least 4 shots in 17 of 25 home games, 30 of 52 games overall. So this guy is just a force on home ice, playing alongside Rupe Hintz. Kind of slowed down there playing with Sagan. I think Sagan was shooting the puck a little bit on that top line there, but heading into the All-Star break when Hintz was out, but he's obviously not. You shouldn't expect him to have as many shots or be as likely to get as many shots against as he did against a team like Anaheim. He had 7 shots on goal on Monday, but the Wild, he's played them pretty well 4 times in 2022, and Robertson has at least 5 shots in those games, 25 shots overall. He's got 6 goals in his last 4 games versus the Wild. So he brings it versus divisional opponents. That's one thing I've kind of noticed stuck out last year. I mean, it really doesn't matter who the competition is. This guy's shooting the puck a ton, and especially when the Stars are on home ice right now. So this has moved. It was plus 150. There's a huge. Okay, so here's another thing. I'm sorry, I'm a little off this morning. This 8:30 a.m. shit is fucking terrible for me most days. I'm still in bed. Half of my I've been up for 3 hours working, but my brain is still in bed. It wants to be. Anyway, that's why I need the Red Bull. So I should just chug it again. That was good. That actually helped that day, except for the getting it in my eye part. But yeah, I mean, this prop, like I said, Anaheim, they allow more shots than any other team in the league. But this prop was minus 120, closed at minus 160 on Monday against the Ducks. Stars at home. Here they have the Wild in. Obviously, like I said, they don't allow as many shots as the Ducks, but they're not a great team by any means. And this prop is opened at plus 115 over 3.5 shots. It's obviously moved a lot now, but it's still even money at some sports books, and Caesars, who you might end up in litigation against, apparently, is plus 114. No, I'm just joking. It's a reference to something that's going on Twitter right now. I'm sure most of you know. But yeah, so it's crazy, the adjustment that's been made here for a guy that's going over his shot prop all the time, has done it, the last 4 times against the Wild, and is just. It doesn't really make sense. It just shows you that there's not a whole lot of work going into this stuff in a lot of spots, right? So take advantage of it.
Yep, that's for sure. Well, that's like we were seeing some of the stuff the other day on some of the props that Todd was giving out for shots on goal. Some of the discrepancies that you can find and things not being accurately priced and stuff. You can stand to make a lot of money off some of that stuff if it's there, especially by line shopping, which you can do on the BetStamp app, and you can also find us on there as Edgework HQ in the Find Better section, so you can track all the picks that we give out throughout the course of a show and throughout the course of a week, as well as over the season, see how we're doing and follow along each night to see what bets are winning, what bets are losing. But not really handing out that many losers this year, as we're up 49 units on the season, almost a 9% ROI. So there you go. Our 2 picks for today so far. We got the Dallas Stars money line, Jason Robertson over 3.5 shots on goal, Is there anything else you guys will be looking for here tonight? That's it? There's only the two.
I got
games,
a parlay. If you guys want to hear it. No, I'm just.
I want to hear it. I want to hear this.
I'm just kidding. No, so I don't know how many. Obviously, Alex, you're not in. You do the ESPN Plus thing. I take it. That's how you watch games. So I got my. I've talked about this before. I have access to my friend's ESPN Plus. So I get to use that a bit, but what we have in Canada right now, man, I'm so pissed off. I'm like, and I think the NHL should be too. I don't know. Do you subscribe to what we have, Sportsnet now, Zach? Sorry.
No. Yeah, I have the Sportsnet now. Yeah.
Yeah. So one device at a time, right? Like it's crazy, man. So like last night, the Oilers. Obviously, I live in Alberta, and I can watch the Oilers on the local Sportsnet channel that I subscribe to. But if I had bet on another team and I wanted to watch the Avalanche and the Penguins, I can't watch both games on the 3 TVs that I have on the wall here. Like it's so weird. Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, if I'm the NHL, they're talking about viewership being down, all that shit.
Yeah.
And they want to grow the game. I'd be super pissed right now if that was me, right? Like it's crazy that I have a 7-year-old. He's going to grow up. He's probably going to be interested in the Oilers. Like, his friends are all probably going to be Oilers fans, yada, 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 right? He lives in Edmonton. If he wants to watch the Oilers and they're not, on Sportsnet on the TV, and he wants to use the app, and I'm watching hockey, like, too bad you're not going to be able to watch hockey. So, like, how are you growing the game, right? Like, it's just silly.
Yeah. It's funny. Zach and I were actually talking about this off air before we started about the TV just stuff and how things are lined up. It's insane here in the U.S. I mean, the regional network carrier Bally is going bankrupt. So 12 teams are in jeopardy of losing the networks that are showing their games here in the U.S. before the season ends. So it's like, the league just doesn't know how to get out of its own way.
I'm not an expert, and I don't know anything about the TV network stuff, but like I remember reading something about how Bally was just like basically a name that they slapped on all of these local broadcasters, right? So they went around and slapped Bally Sports on KTLLV or whatever it was before, right?
Yeah, right. They used to mostly be like Fox Sports owned most of the regional networks about 15, 20 years ago, and then Comcast and NBC bought some of them up, and then now they just like flipped over to the Bally name basically, and like I said, it's just a spot holder kind of name. So it's really weird what's going on with TV here in the States.
I mean, as far as the out of market viewership or out of market games that you can subscribe to buy, like I don't understand why the NHL isn't just doing their own product like they did before.
Yeah.
Like I guess the money thing, they want to try to sell it to these companies and have them market it and stuff. I don't know, but it's just it's not like it's going downhill fast. Like I used to be able to watch 4 games at a time, and if I had 4 TVs, I could watch 4 different games on the NHL app, and now you can't even watch 2 at the same time. And I don't know, it's everybody in a household should be able to watch their team under a subscription to a sports network. Like, I mean, it's not a fucking bar here. I'm not running an establishment. I don't have people coming in. Like, I don't have my friends coming over, hanging out in my kid's bedroom, watching watching the Canadians or whatever. It's like, it's just silly. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you get rid of blackouts, everybody can watch all the games. More people are watching games. Viewership goes up.
I'm not going to an Oilers game anyway. Like I do not want to get off my ass and go downtown in minus 30 and, leave my car in the parking lot for fucking 4 hours, and have it freezing and have to walk there and then start it. And like, it sucks. It's not even a fun experience. Like the only good games to go to are meaningful games, and those are few and far between. And I mean, if you want to go to those, it's a pretty penny, right? You're gonna fork out a ton of money to go to a playoff game in Edmonton. So you might as well just wait and do that rather than waste it on this regular season. Only that's it. Yeah, totally. Jordan fucking loves me too well. He's mad. I'm mad because I can't go out and smoke cigarettes. which is bullshit. But yeah.
Yeah, and Connor
Goddamn
Hartle mentioning
smokers,
here as well.
We are the most oppressed group in the world. I park at Clairview and take the train, but it sucks for sure. Yeah, it sucks coming back, fucking getting held up with a shiv in the parking lot. I used to go. My wife is from Clairview, and I used to take the train there when we were first dating, when I was like 20 years old, and yeah, it was good times for sure. Trying not to get beat up and mugged, but yeah.
All right. Well,
I don't know what Clairview's like now.
Andy, did you want to lock in that Filipino shots on goal one there? I forgot. It was over 2.5.
Yeah, let's lock it in.
All right.
Sure. Oh, it's okay. Even money, yeah.
Yeah. All right. There you go. So there's the 3 plays for today.
But we're gonna put a note that it was who said that? Aaron. We got to put a note that we're tracking it for Aaron. He likes it a lot more than I do. I mentioned it, but I mean, he took the lead here. No, just so he is. That's on Aaron's record if we lose that one.
All right. Well, so we'll do that. We'll add Aaron's name on there and track him, and then tomorrow we'll bring that up. I'll remember to bring that up. But that'll do it for today's Edgework show. Jason
Guys,
Robertson,
I might
over
have dementia.
3.5.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, maybe. I just you said it, not me. That's the end of today's show. Jason Robertson over 3.5 shots on goal. Dallas Stars money line, and Philip Hedl over 2.5 shots on goal. Thanks to our guy Aaron in the chat for that one. So we'll give him the credit. So based on that, especially if it loses, that's on him. It's like what I did to Andy on Monday when he gave out the shots on goal prop, and I said if it loses,
you gave that one. You gave that one out. I just figured you needed some. I just figured you needed some material, right? So it's like he does such.
Yeah, but I thought it was interesting. Brought it up.
You know, worked so hard to host the show and everything and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you giving that one.
It
won.
This geriatric motherfucker right here.
All right. Thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. If you enjoyed the content, please make sure to like this stream and subscribe to the Edgework YouTube channel. Coming out later today will be a new podcast with David Pagnotta, Dennis Bernstein, and Zach Bodenstein, and live at 12 p.m. on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. Rob Pizzola will be live with about 15 different NFL guests coming on to each give their best prop.
There's no way all of those are sharp. There's no way he found that many sharp people. Got to be some idiots in there, right?
It's all very intelligent NFL bettors coming on to give out bets. They will come on, give out their bet, get out, and then the next person will come on to give their bet. So you can walk away with about 15 plus bets for the Super Bowl just out of today's show alone. A lot of the people that will come on will move the market. I know once Hitman comes on, once his prop is released, it'll have some impact on what goes on. So make sure to head over to that.
Jordan said it, not me.
Yeah, Joey Knish is on there. He is on there. So make sure to check that out. Forward Progress today, 12 p.m. noon Eastern time. Go check that out. Make sure to subscribe to that channel. Rob will be live there, so I will be producing that one. Make sure to head over there after this show. Thank you to everyone for tuning in here today.
No. There's gonna be at least one idiot there. Is what you're saying?
Yeah. I guess.
What's I gotta say, like, it's like, you know how people with like Alzheimer's or whatever, they like sundown, where like later in the day they start forgetting things. I'm like the opposite of that. As the show goes on, I'm like starting to wake up and the Red Bull's kicking in, and I want to like take over here, right? So it's bullshit. You got to do this in reverse. It's like Benjamin Button. Like I don't know.
The one thing I always know is when doing the show with Andy, and I don't care, it doesn't affect me. It's just, I know as I'm going to close out, it's going to be like a 5-minute closeout.
I love it though. I love it. It's fun because
I have no problem with it. It's just something I know every time I'm starting. I got about 5 minutes until we're actually done here. But yeah, it's fun.
I'll let you do it. What do you want to say? Thanks, Zach.
Yeah,
you do a great job. You really, really do.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Andy, Alex, thank you guys. Appreciate the insights as always. Good luck on your bets tonight. Andy, I'll see you back on Friday.
Sunrise syndrome. Sunrise.
Alex, enjoy the rest of your week. Good luck on your Super Bowl bets. And for anyone who's looking for more Super Bowl bets, we'll see you guys at 12 o'clock on the Forward Progress YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in today.